Howdy folks, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous with Commander Jingles. Well, technically it's Commander Kessler. Why Kessler? It's gone back a while. Kessler was the name of my character in the Emperor's Hammer TIE Fighter Corps. And that really is going back a few years. This was before X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, before the Microsoft Internet Gaming Zone. Wow, some ancient history right there. But anyway, I digress. Elite Dangerous. I'm still farming engineering materials. We did encoded materials last week. This week we're doing raw materials. Although I've gotten a little bit sidetracked along the way while passing through the Pleiades sector. It turns out this place is absolutely crawling with aliens. Right now all the veteran elite players are going, oh yeah, first time. But I had no idea. Why are you going through the Pleiades sector? Yeah, there's a method to my madness. I'll get to that in a moment. These non-human signal sources. Basically, Thargoid scouts and Thargoid interceptors and all kinds of nasty shit. But I didn't know that at the time. So I thought, yeah, what's the worst that can happen? I should go and investigate. I should mention that at this stage, because I've stripped it down, because I haven't actually really engineered the frameshift drive yet, so I've stripped it down for speed. It's an unarmed ASP Explorer, not that having beam lasers and multi-cannons would do me much good against the Thargoids anyway, so it's probably just as well that I don't have any weapons, because it means I won't be tempted to try to fight back. But I thought I'd just investigate one of these non-human signal sources. See what the fuss was all about. Having, of course, no idea at the time what exactly was lurking inside them. But hey, I guess there's only one way to find out. Any second now. Here we go. We've arrived. Okay, 2 contacts up ahead. Well, that's human. Another human contact up ahead. Well, there's kind of disappointing. There's nothing non-human about these signal sources. Oh shit, what's that? Red contacts dropping in everywhere. Oh my god, I'm being shot at. The hell are those? Oh, let's get out of here. Full panto engines. What the hell? I don't even know what they're shooting at me. Let's not find out. I can't even get a signal lock on them. Holy shit. Come on, move, 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 move. I'm still at shooting range, whatever the hell it is. Let's try to get a target lock on one. Nope. Computer has no idea what it's locked onto. They're still shooting at me. So I'm still in shooting range of whatever the hell they are. Yeah, maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all. I'm boosting out of here as fast as I can. But I'm still at the beginning of the whole engineering process. I don't even think I've engineered my thrusters yet. So, I'm not as fast as I could be. They're still back there at the limits of my sensor range. I wonder if I can switch to the external camera. Nope. Well, I mean, I can switch to the external camera, but I still can't see shit. Okay, but I'm just going to turn this thing around. See if I can actually get a lock. Looks like one of the human ships has jumped out. There it is. Nope. There's 2 of them. It's coming. Oh shit, it's shooting. And my shields are not handling it well at all. Yeah, that was not a good idea. I think I'm just going to get the hell out of here. I didn't come here looking for trouble. I came here looking for raw materials. Actually, I'm just passing through here on the way to farm some raw materials, engineering materials. Once again, I owe a debt of gratitude to Commander Exigious, whose video guided me in the general direction of exactly the sort of thing that I was looking for. Link down below in the video description to his YouTube channel. You see, you can usually pick up raw materials from the surface of planets in every system you come across, and you can find raw materials as a byproduct of asteroid laser mining as well. But if you really, really want to get a lot of raw materials in a relatively short period of time, what you need to do is go crystal shard farming. Reading straight from the Elite Dangerous wiki, crystalline shards are crystalline structures found on airless planets and moons. They're produced by colonies of microorganisms and are known to feature crystalline clusters that are rich in high-grade raw materials. Things like selenium, antimony, niobium, technetium, tellurium. The kind of stuff that you can find elsewhere, but usually only in trace amounts. You can find in particularly high concentrations in sites that contain crystalline shards. And the reason this is the most efficient way of gaining raw materials is because, well, low-grade materials like iron and carbon and phosphorus and sulfur you can find in large amounts, but you need hundreds of low-grade materials to trade up at a material trader to get the high-grade stuff. If you've got a lot of the high-grade stuff, you can trade it for virtually unlimited amounts of the lower-grade stuff. So it's by far the most efficient way. But there's a catch. Crystalline shard sites are kind of rare, and they're always very far away. Which is why you find me out here in the, and this is a bit of a mouthful, Col 69 sector PHU-C30 system. A mere 16, nearly 1700 light years away from my starting system, Shinrata Desra, and the Jameson Memorial Orbital Spaceport. And I did that journey in an Asp Explorer that I couldn't afford an A-grade frameshift drive engine for, and which I hadn't engineered. Let's just say, by the time I was reaching the end of this trip, things were getting a bit emotional. It doesn't look like much on the galaxy map, but that's the galaxy map. You know, like 60,000 light years across. Yeah. But it's going to be worth it, because this system contains one of those rare crystalline shard sites. First, I'm going to have to map the system out and find out which planet I'm looking for. So once I've scooped some fuel, I need to throttle the engine down to idle and then start working the filtered spectral scanner. Now, this is a heavily populated system. Well, it's not a heavily populated system. It has 0 population. But it's a very busy system. There are 71 orbital bodies here. So if you don't mind doing the nearly 1700 light-year journey back, this system alone, and that's not even mentioning all the systems that you scanned with your Discovery scanner on the way here, but this system alone is probably going to be worth a couple of million credits in astronavigational data, if you can get that data back to a station with a cartographics office. So what I'm looking for here is a particular type of planet. First, it has to be a planet that I can land on. And it has to have sites of biological interest. Geological would be nice too, but you're going to find crystal shards at biological sites because the crystal shards are formed by microorganisms. Now, I'm at 11 of 71 orbital bodies plotted, so this could take some time. So we're just going to skip ahead to when I find it. And there it is, planet B10b. If you look in the top right corner, you'll see it's busy resolving the various different features on the planet. Both biological and geological are likely and highly likely. And to the left of that, you can see the various different resources and the concentrations of those resources likely to be available on this planet. And this place has 13 biological and 12 geological concentrations. So in other words, it's an absolute treasure trove. Now, I don't know the precise locations of all those features on the surface of the planet, so we're going to have to get in closer and then do a detailed surface scan in order to map them out. And this just involves using your detailed surface scanner. You did bring a detailed surface scanner, yeah? Because if you didn't, it's a fucking long way to the shops to buy a new one. Which simply just involves firing a bunch of probes into the surface of the planet in order to resolve its topological features. And once you've done that, you'll have the precise locations of all of those concentrations of juicy, crunchy, and chewy engineering raw materials. And then it's just a simple case of landing. And you did bring a planetary vehicle hangar along, didn't you, with a surface reconnaissance vehicle? Because if you didn't, guess what? It's a long way to the shops from here. and rounding up as many raw materials as you can take. Like that ruthenium that I found in one of the crystalline shards just about the second I arrived here. Ruthenium, by the way, just in case you have no idea exactly how rare this stuff is, in the year 2016, the world's industry, the entire world's industry, consumed 30.9 tons of this stuff. Yeah, that's how rare it is. And if you take a look at the scanner in the lower center of the screen, every one of those white dots, that's a crystalline shard. Now, they're not all going to contain ruthenium, but a lot of them are. And just to give you an idea of how valuable this stuff is, if I was to collect 150 ruthenium, which is not impossible, it would take a couple of hours, but I could do it here, I could trade that ruthenium for 7,200 of a low-grade material. And I can't even carry 7,200 of a low-grade material. I think the low-grade stuff caps at 350. So you get the idea. Spend enough time farming elements in this place, and you'll never need to farm elements again. However, all good things must come to an end, and once I'd had as much as I could take, it was time to travel the nearly 1,700 light years all the way back home again. In an Asp Explorer that doesn't have a top-of-the-line frameshift drive and which hasn't been engineered at all. 1,700 light years, 22 light years at a time. Yeah, let's not do that. So the quickest and easiest way of getting back home is to just take off, get myself some altitude, a couple of kilometers ought to do, switch my shields off, going into silent running mode will do that for you, turn the ship around, you know what's coming, don't you? And then just boost it straight back down into the surface. This will of course destroy my ship. This will also of course mean that I've lost all of the navigational data that I collected on the way here, but big deal. What it also means is that I'll be given the option to respawn in the last station that I visited before heading out here, after paying the insurance cost on my ship of course. But because, one, it's just an Asp Explorer, and two, it definitely doesn't have top-of-the-line equipment, the insurance cost is going to be affordable. In fact, I have nearly 90 million credits, and the rebuy cost on the Asp Explorer is not that much more than 500,000. So yeah, I'll happily pay 600,000 credits to avoid having to do that journey again. On the bright side, by the time we're done with the engineers, 1,700 light years will probably take about half an hour. Well, the next thing that I had to do was find a raw materials trader at an orbital station in order to trade all of that ruthenium and everything else that I farmed on the surface of that planet whose name I'm not even going to bother to attempt to remember, in order to get the specific materials that I'm going to need to work with Felicity Farseer. And if you don't know where the nearest raw material trader is, just head over to the inara.cz website, linked down below in the video description, input your current location, and it will tell you where the nearest raw material trader is. Having done that, it's time to head back to Felicity Farseer in the Dekiat system and get some engineering done. Felicity Farseer offers a fairly broad range of engineering services. She can engineer your frameshift drive interdictor, your power plant, your shield booster, but only up to grade 1. She can engineer a detailed surface scanner, sensors, or thrusters up to grade 3, but pretty much everybody wants Felicity Farseer for her frameshift drive engine upgrades, which she can boost all the way up to grade 5. The upgrades that she offers include faster boot time, so you don't have to spend as long sitting waiting for the drive to spool up, or she can shield the engine, which gives it improved integrity and heat generation with a small increase to range, but the reason everybody comes to Felicity Farseer is for the frameshift drive engine jump range upgrade. Now, there's no such thing as a free lunch. You can't increase the range of your engine without a couple of drawbacks, including increased mass, lower module integrity, and also substantially increased power draw. So there's a reasonable chance that unless you're running a top-of-the-line power plant, you might start running into power problems once you've gotten your frameshift drive engineered all the way up to grade 5. But don't worry, we're going to get that covered too. Now unfortunately at the moment I'm running into a little bit of a brick wall here because I'm working on the grade 2 increased jump range for my frameshift drive, but I've just run out of chemical processors. There are 3 types of engineering materials. We covered encoded materials in the last video, we just did raw materials in this video. We haven't yet gotten around to manufactured materials, so that's a bit of a bummer. I mean, I can try upgrading other modules on my ship to increase the level of access that Felicity is going to offer me, not just because I want grade 5 access so I can get the best upgrades for my frameshift drive, but also because continuing to increase my access level to Felicity by getting her to perform upgrades is going to give me the option to contact another engineer who goes by the name of Yuri Ishmak. I'm not that bothered about Yuri Ishmak though, because the kind of upgrades that he has grade 5 access to are things like mine launchers, sensors and detailed surface scanners. And I can live without that right now. And I already have access to another engineer, which is where we're going to be going for our next step, who goes by the name of Elvira Martuk, who also does grade 5 frameshift drives, but also grade 3 shield generators, grade 2 thrusters, and grade 1 shield cell banks. Again, she doesn't really do anything that I can't already get with Felicity, but improving your access level to Elvira Martuk is going to open up a lot of other engineers. First though, I'm really going to need some manufactured materials. I already need them with Felicity to further improve my jump drive, but I'm going to need them for all of the engineers. So what are manufactured materials? Well, as the name would suggest, they're things that have been built, and you mostly find them on starships, or the wreckage of starships. And the best way to find them on the wreckage of starships is to blow the buggers up. So that means combat. Now if combat just isn't your bag, baby, you don't have to actually get involved in fighting in order to farm manufactured components. You can also find them in those, well, some of those unidentified signal sources that you see scattered throughout the various different systems that you're traveling through. You're going to be looking for degraded emission sources and high-grade emission sources, with the high-grade emission sources being a lot more rare, but offering higher-grade manufactured materials. Or you could just bite the bullet, kit a ship out for combat, and go and stomp some faces and comb through the wreckage afterwards. Which is why you find me, once again, back at the Jameson Memorial Orbital in the Shinrata Desra system, kitting out a Python for combat. Because they sell everything here at a 10% discount. Of course, if you didn't back the game in Kickstarter like I did, or you don't have an elite rating in either combat, exploration or trading, you don't have access to the Shinrata Desra system and the Jameson Memorial Orbital. So, you know, there's that. Luckily, I do. Now, I remember what happened when I took my Imperial Cutter into combat, thinking that it was the bee's knees, the dog's danglies, you know, all that good stuff, and then very, very quickly found out the hard way that it really, really wasn't. It may be the most expensive ship. Well, it was the most expensive ship in the galaxy, at least until the introduction of fleet carriers. But while a completely stock Imperial Cutter may have been the most expensive ship in the galaxy, it's a completely stock Imperial Cutter. I mean, the ship costs over 200 million credits. But even after you've bought it, you have to throw an extraordinary amount of money at it to get top-of-the-line A-rated modules. And that's before you even start the engineering grind on your cutter. I mean, just to give you an idea, for a ship that costs more than 200 million credits, if you want to fit grade A thrusters in that ship, even with the 10% discount at this place, it's still going to cost you an additional more than 140 million credits, and that's just for the thrusters. I'd heard that you needed 1 billion credits in order to buy a cutter and then make it worth flying. They weren't lying. So yeah, screw the cutter. This, of course, is why you find me at the much more affordable end of the market, fitting out a Python for a bit of light combat in order to farm some manufactured materials. Now, I am aware of what happened the last time I tried to take a ship into combat. And I'm also aware that even though I can afford to fit the Python out with the best modules available for money, none of those modules, well, I'm specifically talking weapons here, none of them are going to be engineered because I don't yet know any engineers who can work their magic on weapons. And also, possibly more importantly, I absolutely suck at combat. So I'm not going to try to run before I can walk. Now, tempting though it may be to simply take the ship out into the black beyond and start farming degraded emission sources and high-grade emission sources from our manufactured materials, and that's a perfectly valid strategy, but it is going to limit access to certain other engineers who require you to have a certain combat rating, or require you to have handed in a certain number of combat bonds, or a certain number of bounties. Now, you don't absolutely need all of these engineers if combat isn't your bag, baby, but having access to them is better than not having access to them, so combat it is. Now, the first thing that you're going to need to do is to find somebody to shoot at, and, well, you could just launch yourself out into space, find the first person you don't much like the look of and unload your weapons onto them, but, well, that's probably going to get you into trouble with the feds. And when I say the feds, I mean like the space FBI, not the Federation, because, hell, why not get into trouble with those glue sniffers? Luckily for you, and for me, there are all kinds of perfectly legal and very profitable ways of getting your combat itch scratched. Like, but not limited to, by no means limited to, taking on contracts to go and kill people for the various different factions in the game. Which is why you find me in my Python, loaded for bear and ready to go, tracking down somebody in the arse end of nowhere whose name really isn't important, who never really did me any harm, but who managed to seriously upset somebody with very deep pockets when it comes to issuing bounties. I'm going to kill him, whoever he is, comb the wreckage for his stuff, and then head home and get paid for a job well done. Ooh, security response unavailable. Don't have to worry about the feds. Weapons deployed. Got him scanned, make sure this is my target. Careful, don't want to overshoot. Need to finish the scan. Oh, they're scanning me. He's got quite a few friends with him. Do I really want to do this? Oh, screw it. I came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum. Come here, you. Weapons up. Eat this. Oh, shit. Oh, that's not good. Don't shoot. It was all a misunderstanding. Yeah, I may have exceeded the output of my power plant, which caused several systems, like my guns and shields, to shut down. So that's kind of embarrassing. Still, I'm sure nobody noticed. I might need to go back to the drawing board here. More next week. In the meantime, as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.